Hello and welcome to my Terra clay paint makeover. This Country Cutie 1980s wood washstand really needed an update. I'm going to do this by adding some new panels and Terra clay paint. Those country hearts have to go. I filled in the holes on the front of the piece and then glued in some very thin panels to create new drawer fronts. After my glue was set, I was ready to install some new hardware and add some would you bend moldings. This would you bend molding is perfect for the back of a drawer pull. I like to drill a new hole and then heat up the back of my would you bend molding and glue it to the piece. Would you bend moldings arrive rigid and hard in the packaging. Once you heat them up on the back with a heat gun or a hairdryer, you're able to bend them and make them malleable. You can bend them around corners or curved surfaces. Add your wood glue and then put them onto the piece. It's important to know that you need to heat up the back of your would you bend molding even if you think your surface is flat. This is going to help heat up the glue and the surface and keep it fully adhered to the flat front of your piece. This would you bend molding arrives in a package of 2, but I only used 1 for this project. I had some cast iron rustic hardware that I purchased at a local craft store. The color wasn't right, but don't worry, I'm going to be painting right over top of it with my Terra clay paint. I cleaned this entire project with White Lightning. You could also use Terra Clean to prepare for paint. I started off with a pure black base of onyx. Onyx is the deepest, darkest black in the Terra clay paint line. This will allow me to have a strong base for when I come in with multiple colors and drippy wet boho looks to pull back and reveal the black underneath. I wanted to achieve a kind of blended blue to cream look. I started with London blue, moving up into malachite, into desert tan, and then with a little bit of prairie. I like to use a dry or wet, depending on what kind of look you're going for, natural fiber brush. This allows me to really stipple the paint on and create texture where there really wasn't any texture before. Terra clay paint is reactivated by water, so you're able to spray it and kind of move it around your piece. I like to work in sections when I'm working on a piece, so I will do a whole side and then a whole front and then the whole other side. This way I can really concentrate on getting the paint to go where I want it to be. It's important to really kind of look at your color pattern and lay out the colors to blend them together on the second coat. You'll see me using a heat gun along this process. All I'm doing is speeding up the dry time. Since Terra clay paint goes on fairly thick, it tends to stay damp a little bit longer than most chalk mineral paints. So when I use that heat gun, I'm just kind of speeding up the process in between building my layers. I continued this process all the way around the entire piece, including the handles. Okay, so I know this looks like the Hot Mess Express, right? It's patchy, it's weird, you see black, none of the colors are blended. This is the first layer. I like to put paint down and see if I like the dimension, if I like where it's living. I like to say put it down and see where it's gonna live. This is gonna show me how I have this paint color pattern laid out. If I like it, if I want to add more color, if I want to take away color, and the nice thick texture that's here is going to get dry. After you have finished patting your paint and getting it exactly the way that you want it, you have to let it dry for approximately 24 to 48 hours before you seal. This paint holds a lot of moisture, so be prepared to wait. After my paint had dried and I added my Terra Tuff, I came in with gilding waxes to add a bit of dimension. This is me using black in the corners and crevices to create depth where there really wasn't any depth before. You can also do this with gemstone mousse or gold gilding wax, whatever you like to accent your piece. One of my favorite things to do with Terra clay paint is to do a paint drag. I like to use a spatula and pull that paint down, adding color to the front of the panels.